going to show you how to make this crochet book sleeve and a matching bookmark. These patterns are really customizable for any type of book, and they're pretty easy to make. So without further ado, let me tell you guys the materials you need to make these crochet projects. So the first thing you're gonna need is yarn. I personally use 3 colors, but you can really use whatever yarn that you want. You can make this in 1 color, you can make this in 2 colors, you can make this in 10 colors, it doesn't matter. And this yarn is a super fine yarn. It's 100% cotton, and it's from the brand Hobby. If you don't have super fine yarn at home, you can really use whatever yarn you have. It doesn't matter, the pattern is going to work either way. So the next thing I'm going to need is a 2.5mm hook, but you should use whatever hook is recommended for the yarn that you're gonna use. You're gonna need a couple of stitch markers, a darning needle to weave in the ends, and a pair of scissors. So that's pretty much it. We can now get started with the tutorial. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take out the book that you want to make a book sleeve for, and we're now going to make the foundation chain. Your foundation chain has to be a multiple of 4 plus 1 at the end, and your foundation chain has to be as long as your book. Because it's a multiple of 4, if it is a little bigger than your book, that's totally fine, but it shouldn't be smaller than your book because you're not going to be able to insert your book in your book sleeve. So we're going to start by making a slip knot. So take your yarn and roll it on your 2 fingers like this, making an X shape. Then take your hook and pass it underneath here and grab the yarn over here. Turn your fingers and take them off and pull. Then you can pull again to adjust it to your hook. So here we have our slip knot, and now what you have to do is start chaining. I'm going to make a total of 56 chains plus 1 for a total of 57, because 56 is a multiple of 4 and then I have to chain 1 at the end. So to chain, you have to yarn over and pull through. So that's 1, yarn over, pull through, that's 2, yarn over, pull through, that's 3, yarn over, pull through, that's 4. So you'll have to repeat that until you have the right height for your book. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys then. All right, so here I have 56 chains, and I'm going to add 1 at the end for a total of 57. So again, you have to make a multiple of 4 plus 1 at the end. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna skip the first chain and crochet in the second chain from our hook. The little loop on your hook does not count as a chain. So we're gonna skip the first chain here and insert our hook in the second chain from our hook. Before that, we're gonna yarn over, and now we're gonna insert our hook in the back loop of the second chain here. Like this. We're gonna yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So here we have our first double crochet. If you're a beginner, I suggest you put a stitch marker in your first and last stitch. Okay, so we're gonna go to the next one, yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, go to the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, so we're gonna do this all across until we reach our last chain. On our last chain, we're gonna make an increase, but I'll see you guys then to show you how to do this. Okay, so I have made double crochets all across, and I have one last chain here at the end. On this last chain, we're gonna make an increase. We're gonna put 2 double crochets in the same chain. So insert your hook, make a double crochet. So that's 1, and I'm gonna make a second one in the same hole. So in the same chain. And 2, so here we have our increase. And now we're gonna go around and continue crocheting going this way. So we're gonna turn our work a little bit, and we're going to restart crocheting in these little loops here that you can see. So here we've put our 2 double crochets, which means that this is the next little loop we have to insert our hook in. Alright, so I'm going to restart crocheting and making double crochets all across. So yarn over, insert your hook in the next little loop like this, and make a double crochet. Next little loop, double crochet, so on and so forth. So repeat this all across your work until you reach your last chain. Alright, so here I have 3 little loops left, so I have to make 3 double crochets. One, and my last one over here. So here I made my last double crochet. If you're a beginner, I suggest you also put a stitch marker here on your last stitch. Now what I suggest you to do is to count all of your stitches and make sure that that's a multiple of 4, because if it's not, then that means you made a mistake somewhere, and if this is not a multiple of 4, it's going to mess up your next row. So just make sure that you have the right amount of stitches. We can now finish this round by making a slip stitch in our first stitch. So take off your stitch marker, insert your hook through both loops, yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook to make a slip stitch. We're now going to start round 2. So to start round 2, we're going to chain 4. So yarn over and pull through 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're now going to skip 3 stitches and make a cluster of double crochets in the 4th stitch. So here is the first stitch where we just slip stitched in. We're going to skip this one, the second one, and the third one, and insert our hook in the 4th one. So we're gonna yarn over, insert our hook in the 4th stitch of the round, and make a double crochet. And we're gonna add 2 more double crochets in the same stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So we now have our first cluster. To continue, we're gonna chain 1. We're gonna skip again 3 stitches and make another cluster in the 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, skip, insert your hook in the 4th one, and make another cluster. So that's 1, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochets. We're once again gonna chain 1, make another cluster, so skip 3, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook in the 4th one, first double crochet, second double crochet, and 3rd double crochet. So go ahead and repeat this all around, and I'll see you guys when I reach the end over here. Here I'm almost done with my round. Skip 3, make a cluster, and so here I'm going to show you what's going to happen at the end of every round. It's always going to be the same. So here I'm going to chain 1, and at the end we're always just going to make 2 double crochets in the last stitch, because the chain 4 here at the beginning counts as 1 double crochet of the last cluster. So I'm gonna take off my stitch marker and skip 3 and make 2 double crochets, so 1, and the second one I'm not going to complete it because I want to change colors. If you don't want to change colors, you just have to complete your double crochet. So I'm gonna yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and I'm going to stop there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my new color. So I'm gonna grab it with my hook like this, and I'm going to finish my double crochet with my new color like this. And the last step is going to be to slip stitch in the third chain from the beginning. So 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to insert my hook through both loops like this. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. So again, to start a row, you're gonna chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What's different about this pattern is that every time we start a new row, we have to turn our work. So this is the front of my work now. I'm just going to turn it. So flip it. And here we're gonna start the third round. And from now on, it's pretty easy to know where to insert your hook because you're always going to have to insert your hook in the holes. You're gonna have to yarn over and insert your hook in the first hole and make a cluster of 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. When you're done with your first cluster, you're gonna chain 1, go to the next hole and make another cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Again, chain 1, go to the next hole and make another cluster of 3. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, next hole, cluster of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And so you're gonna do this all around your work. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this all around and I'll meet you guys at the end here. So here I have 3 more clusters to make, and I know that because my chain 4 is here and I have 3 holes next to it. Here I have my last little hole. If you remember, every time we reach the end, we only have to make 2 double crochets in the last hole because the chain 4 counts as 1 double crochet. So here in this next hole, I'm gonna make 2 double crochets. So that's 1, and I'm going to change colors again with a new color. So I'm going to make a second double crochet, but I'm not going to finish it. So I'm going to pull through these 2 loops, and I'm gonna keep these 2 other loops on my hook. And so I'm gonna grab my new color, which is orange. I'm gonna grab it and finish my double crochet with it like this. And make sure that all of your tails are in the inside of your book sleeve. So whenever you're done with one color, you're gonna take the yarn that's attached to the skein and place it inside of the sleeve like this. I know it looks like a mess, but the more rows you have, the easier it gets. We're once again going to slip stitch in the third chain. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to insert my hook in the chain, yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. To start round 4, we're gonna chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And once again, every time we start a new row, we have to turn our work. So this is my work right now. I'm going to turn it. And we're just going to repeat the exact same thing we've been doing. So we're gonna yarn over, insert our hook in the first hole, and make a cluster there. So 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, go to the next hole and make another cluster of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, go to the next hole, make another cluster of 3. 2, 3. So repeat this all across and I'll meet you guys again at the end. Alright, so here I have 2 little clusters left to make. I know it because I can see my little chain 4 here. chain 1, and once again on our last cluster we're only going to make 2 double crochets because the chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So I'm gonna make 1 double crochet, and I'm not going to finish the second double crochet because I'm going to switch over to my first color once again. And to change colors, it's really easy because your yarn is just waiting there inside of your sleeve. So what I do is I just pick up the yarn color that I want. It's just waiting for you on the other side. So I just grab it and I finish my double crochet with it like this. And now I'm going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. Now we're going to start round 5, chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once again, we're going to turn our work. So this is how my work is now. I'm going to turn it, and we're going to restart the whole process once again. So I'm now going to start making my first cluster in the first hole over here. One, 2, and 3. Chain 1, go to the next hole and make your next cluster. 2 and 3, chain 1. So just repeat this all across your work, and I'm going to show you guys one last time how to end a row and start a new one. Alright, so here I have 2 clusters left to make. One, 2, 3, chain 1, and then once again on the last little hole we're gonna do 2 double crochets. So that's 1, and the second one I'm not going to complete it because I'm going to change colors again. So now that I'm done with this light pink, I'm going to take my dark pink over here. And so don't forget to put your tails always in the same side. So here is my pink tail. I'm going to take it and bring it inside like this. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and grab my new pink color and bring it to the top like this. So my tails always stay in the same side. So once you have your tail of yarn, you're gonna grab it and finish your double crochet. And now I'm going to slip stitch in the 3rd chain. Now to start the next round, we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So before we start the next round, we're gonna turn our work. So we're gonna turn it. And as you can see, this side is really clean because all of our little tails are in the inside. So I'm gonna yarn over, insert my hook in the first hole here, and make my cluster. Chain 1, go to the next hole, make your cluster. Alright, so from now on, what you're gonna have to do is just repeat these steps over and over again until you reach the top of your book. So every now and then you should just put your book inside of your book sleeve and see if you have the right height. Alright, so here I made a total of 21 rounds, and here I have one last cluster to make. So I'm going to make 2 double crochets in here, 1 and 2. I'm not going to complete it, I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to bring my yarn inside of my little sleeve, and I'm going to finish with this pink yarn. So I'm going to grab it and finish my double crochet and slip stitch in the 3rd chain. I'm now done making all of my rows of these little clusters. This is how it fits my book. I kind of wanted to add a little more height and just a better finished product on the edges. So I'm gonna make 2 rounds of only single crochets in every little stitch. So to do that, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to insert my hook in the chain 1 here. So I'm going to insert my hook in the little chain 1 like this and make a single crochet. Then I'm gonna go to the next stitch, make a single crochet, next stitch, single crochet, and so on and so forth. When you reach your chain 1, you can just simply insert your hook in your chain and make a single crochet, single crochet. If you find it hard to insert your hook in the chain, you can always just make a single crochet like this, inserting your hook in the hole, but it gives off a better finish if you insert your hook in the chain like this. So go ahead and do single crochets in every stitch. So I have 2 stitches left here, 1 and 2. When you're done with your last stitch, you're just going to slip stitch in the first stitch of the round. And I'm personally going to make a second round of single crochets, so I'm going to chain 1 and repeat the same thing again. So the first stitch goes in the same stitch that you just slip stitched in, and just repeat making single crochets in every stitch. And you'll notice that to do this, I did not turn my work because it's just not necessary anymore. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and do single crochets in every stitch. So here I have 2 single crochets left to make. So 1 and 2. When you're done doing that, you're going to pull some yarn and cut it. Take your needle and pass the tail through. Then pass your needle through both loops of your first stitch of the round, like this. And then pass your needle through the back loop of your last stitch. So this is my last stitch. I'm gonna pass my needle through the back loop like this. And so this creates like a little fake stitch. And now what you can do is, if you used other colors, you can go ahead and cut the yarn and then just weave in your ends. Same thing for the one on the top here. When all of your ends are weaved in, you can put your book inside of your book sleeve, and you can now figure out where you want to place your straps to close the book sleeve. So this step is really up to you depending on where you want to place them. I like to place them around 2.5 inches away from the edge on both sides. I suggest you take out 4 stitch markers. So 2.5 inches is about in here. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, like around here. And now what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to take off my book. I'm going to take 2 more stitch markers, and I'm going to flatten out my book sleeve and just look at what stitch is right in front of my stitch marker. So I'm just gonna place it there. This doesn't need to be like super precise. So like this. Same thing on the other side here. So once this is done, you can take whatever color you want. I'm going to take the darker pink, and I'm going to chain 50. So I'm going to take off my first stitch marker, insert my hook in there, grab the yarn, pull it through, and start chaining. So I'm gonna chain 50. And of course you can really chain how much you want depending on how long you want your strap to be. When you're done chaining, all you have to do is pull a little bit of yarn and cut your yarn. So mine was like a yarn scrap, so I didn't have to cut it. And now what you want to do is pass your tail of yarn inside of the loop like this and pull. So this makes a little knot. And then what you want to do is cut the excess yarn, but leave a little bit of yarn like this for your knot to make sure that your knot stays there in place. You're going to repeat this 3 more times where you put your stitch markers. The length of your bookmark is really customizable. You can really make it as long as you want. The only thing you have to know is that you have to chain a multiple of 11 plus 2 at the end. So for example, for me, I'm going to chain 66 and I'll add 2 at the end for a total of 68. So we're going to start by making a slip knot. And I'm going to chain 66. Alright, so I have here 66 chains and I'm going to chain 2 more. So 1 and 2. So now I have a total of 68 chains. Alright, so this is the front of your chains, and if you turn your chain, you're going to see that you have little bumps over here. So these are the back bars of your chain, and we're gonna crochet in those. So again, this is the front. We're gonna turn our work and work on the back of the chain. So the first thing we're gonna do is that we're going to skip the first back bar and insert our hook in the second back bar like this, and we're gonna make an increase. We're gonna put 2 single crochets in there. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 single crochet. If you're a beginner, you might want to put a stitch marker on your first stitch. So that's 1, and we're gonna insert our hook again back in the same hole to make a second single crochet. So here we made 2 single crochets in the same hole. We're now going to make 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. So insert your hook in the next back bar and make a single crochet. So that's 1. We're gonna go to the next one, insert our hook in the back bar, make a single crochet. That's 2. Next back bar, 3, and we're gonna go to the next one. That's 4. We're now going to skip 2 back bars, so I'm gonna skip this back bar and this other back bar here, and I'm going to insert my hook in the third one over here, and we're gonna make 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. So we're gonna skip 2 chains, 1, 2, insert your hook in the third one and make a single crochet. So that's 1. We're gonna go to the next one, 2, next back bar, 3, next back bar, and 4. Now on this next back bar, we're gonna make an increase. We're gonna put 3 single crochets in the same chain. So we're gonna insert our hook there and make 3 single crochets in the same back bar. So here we have 1, insert your hook in the same hole. This is 2, and again in the same hole, 3. So here we have our increase of 3 single crochets. We're now going to make 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. One, 2, 3, and 4. So now because we're at the bottom, we're gonna skip 2, 1, 2, and insert our hook in the third one, and we're gonna make 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we were at the bottom, we went up, so now we have to make an increase. We're gonna make 3 single crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, and 3 single crochets in the same chain. And now we have to go down. We're gonna make 1 single crochet in the next 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you basically have to repeat this all across your chain. I forgot to say, but in every row we're gonna start by making 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So now just repeat this all across your work. So again, we did 4 single crochets, skip 2, 4 single crochets. We're now at the top, so we're gonna increase and put 3 single crochets on the top in the same chain. Now after that you do 4 single crochets, skip 2, 4 single crochets to go up, then increase in the top, doing 3 single crochets in the same chain, and then make 4 single crochets to go down. So once again, just repeat that all across your work. Here I'm almost done. Because I'm now in the bottom, I'm going to skip 2, and I'm gonna make 4 single crochets after skipping 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you're done repeating the pattern, you should be left off with 1 chain at the end. And as I said earlier, every time we start and finish a row, we're gonna make an increase of 2 single crochets. So in this last chain, we're gonna increase, we're gonna put 2 single crochets in this last chain. So 1 and another one in the same hole, just like this. So now we're done with row 1, and you're basically going to have to repeat this until you have the right width for your bookmark. So that's for you to decide. So to start the next row, we're just going to chain 1 and turn our work. To start, we're gonna skip the chain we just made. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. So to start, we're just going to skip the chain we just made and make an increase in the first stitch of the row. We're gonna put 2 single crochets in the first stitch. So skip the chain here, insert your hook in the first stitch and make an increase of 2 single crochets. So this is 1. If you're a beginner, you might want to put a stitch marker in there. So that's 1, and we're gonna make another one in the same hole. So this is 2. Now that we're done with our increase, we're gonna make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we reached the bottom, so we're gonna skip 2 and make 4 single crochets after that. So skip 2 stitches and insert your hook in the third one and make 4 single crochets. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now that we've reached the top, we're gonna put 3 single crochets in this next chain. So we're gonna increase here, 1, 2, and 3 in the same stitch. And now we're gonna go down, we're gonna make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we reach the bottom, so we're gonna skip 2 stitches and make 4 single crochets after those 2 stitches. So skip 2, 1, 2, insert your hook in the third one and make 4 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that we reached the top, we're going to increase. We're going to put 3 single crochets in the next stitch to make an increase. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go down. We're going to put 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we're going to repeat this all across our work. So again, it's really the same thing as row 1. We're gonna skip 2 stitches, make 4 single crochets, increase in the top, 4 single crochets, skip 2, 4 single crochets, increase, so on and so forth. And I'll see you guys when I reach the end over here. So I'm almost done with row 2. So here I've reached my last stitch, and once again on the last stitch we make an increase of 2 single crochets. So I'm gonna put 1, and now I'm gonna make a second single crochet in this last stitch, but I'm just not going to finish it because I want to change colors. So I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. I'm then going to grab my new color, and I'm going to finish this stitch with the new colors. So put it on your hook like this and pull through, just like this. I mean, you don't have to change colors if you don't want to, but yeah. So when you're done doing that, you're just going to chain 1, and we're just now going to repeat the same thing we just did with row 1 and row 2. We're gonna turn our work, we're gonna skip the chain we just made and make an increase in the first stitch, and we're gonna make a second one in the same stitch. So here I'm done with my increase. Now I'm going to make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because this is the bottom, we're gonna skip 2, 1, 2, and insert our hook in the third one and make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We now reach the top. We're gonna make an increase of 3 single crochets in the same stitch. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're gonna go down, so we're gonna make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that we are down here, we're gonna skip 2 and make 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty much all you have to do. You can really, again, make as many rows as you want. So yeah, just repeat this over and over again until you have the right width for your bookmark. If you're curious, I'm doing 6 rows. So here I'm done with my bookmark. The last thing you want to do is just pull a little bit of yarn like this and cut somewhere over here. Now you can just pass the little tail inside of the loop here like this and pull to make a knot. And I'm also going to cut the excess yarn here, and you can simply just go ahead and weave in all of your ends, and you're going to be done with your bookmark. Alright, so when you're done weaving in all of your ends for both of your projects, you're officially done with your bookmark and your book sleeve. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.